Hi, everyone. It's Nikolay, editor-in-chief of FinanceFeeds. I'm here today with Greg Rubin, who's head of Axi Select. Greg, it's great to see you again. Happy 2025.
Thank you, Nikolay. Great to speak to you again, and Happy New Year.
Likewise. Greg, you and I have talked extensively about funded trader programs, Axi Select. I wanted to kind of have a brief catch-up with you today and ask you, how has the industry changed since the program launched? Are you seeing any change in the regulatory space? And what do you expect those changes to be possibly in the future?
Yeah, there's a lot that's changed since we launched. I think our timing was quite, opportunistic looking back. But we launched September 2023. I think it was 2 or 3 days after the MFF news broke when they got shut down, and that was kind of the pinnacle in terms of the beginning of the change in the industry. It was sort of one of the first of the bigger firms that got shut down. And since then, the industry's been turned on its head with constant changing. The first we saw was a lot of firms had to change their literature. It became a lot more sort of simulated and, being very transparent that it had to be demos. It wasn't so much like that before. We've seen brokers into the space. Like we were the first broker, and a few brokers have followed suit since, offering a prop model. MetaQuote has pulled back from the space, and they still, some firms will still utilize them as we do, but there are a lot of firms that cannot use MetaQuotes, and we have seen other firms come in and try pick up that slack. It was a crave when we started this program. There were just so many firms that just appeared, and ultimately we have seen a lot of them being shut down, a lot of them having left the space. With regards to the regulations, there's been a lot of talk, and I think the industry is moving more towards regulation, but there's been very little action just yet. There is talk amongst regulators who are starting to ask questions, and I think a lot of industry participants have been talking about it, or the views seem to be quite mixed across the board. But ultimately, I do feel that we are going to see some form of regulation come down the line. How or what that will look like, I think, is anybody's guess right now. I think we're at the beginning stages, but I've always been a big advocate for it. With our model being live accounts, not having evaluation, not having registration feed, we very much believe that our model is very much more aligned with trading as opposed to sort of speculating, and something that we believe is in tune with more in tune, in tune with the regulators. So,
Great. And Greg, as you mentioned, it's been over a year since Axi Select launched. Can you share some details on how it's performed till today, and kind of some feedback from customers, perhaps, or some of the things that you're seeing internally as head of Axi Select?
Yeah, so we've had a very good start. We started September 2003. We're quite humbled by the praise that we've received and the amount of clients that have chosen to trade with Axi Select. We have just over 24,000 traders who have joined the program, and we've seen quite a few progress to the latter stages. And ultimately, what's important is to see how traders' journeys have changed and how we've changed lives just to some degree. We've recently launched a series where traders on the Axi Select program are sharing their stories. And it's just so great to see when you sort of see people who, completely would never have had this opportunity and now are managing huge sums of money. I mean, the one I listened to actually a couple of days ago was a 21-year-old who started with $500, is now trading with $500,000 of our funds. So it's just great when you see these stories. There's a lot of love for Axi Select from our client base, and they've all come forward and happy to share their stories. So we have a very strong community, a community that's all pulling in the right direction. And I think that's very much, you can see they're quite well spread at the moment, and there's more coming sort of on a weekly basis. They're being released. So we're very proud of what we've created and very humbled by what we're doing in this industry at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like there's a social community now kind of built around the program where people are proactively sort of sharing their experiences. Is that right, Greg?
Yeah, and that's something that we really wanted to create. We didn't want this to be a competition of who's top of the leaderboard, who's number two. Trading is a personal journey, and it's important to have that community around you. My previous background, I always tell my story that it wasn't until I found a trading community where my trading career really took off, and it was that sort of I understood the importance of it. Prior to this, I also ran a trading room where I was teaching people to trade according to certain strategies. And you could see how important it was from the learning side to have people all looking at, pulling in the same direction, or trying to help each other. And we see that in the trading room. It's not even just the analysis. There could be a support question that gets asked, and one of the other members will answer it before even, our support members will answer it. So we are trying to build that. I think it's very important. As I've said previously, we're not just a funding program. We don't just say, here's funds, go do what you do. We ultimately provide all the tools. We provide the structure. We give traders that platform, and the community is certainly a very important part in that. And just one more thing to that, we actually do weekly webinars in the trading room as well, which is sort of learning. So we try and bring that in. It's an important part of our program.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And I would think that this, let's say, social or support community of traders, they're probably giving you feedback and ideas as well. And I wanted to find out, are there any sort of learnings that have come about in the past year since you launched the program that can sort of help the future to improve the program in some ways? And if you have gotten feedback, valuable feedback like that, are there any changes or additions or improvements planned to the Axi Select program for the near future? Since it is January 2025, we're eager to know kind of if there's anything planned for later on this year.
Yeah, ultimately we providing a program for clients, and we take on feedback very seriously. We encourage those suggestions. They all get reviewed. We do surveys very frequently because we do want to understand what our traders are thinking. I'm not saying every idea or suggestion gets put into place. We get quite a few, and quite a few wild ones. But ultimately, the voices are heard. And if I look at two of our most recent changes, that was driven by clients' proposals or client suggestions. And one is the ability to reset the edge score. So as you know, we have a score which judges performance, and the higher your score ultimately leads to more funding. And one of the suggestions was, well, what if I learned to trade and I wasn't as good and I've sort of improved over the last 6 months, I'm still stuck with an old score, a score that's affecting me. So we introduced the ability for traders to reset their edge score so they can start again and start building a score and perhaps achieve a higher score. They're not held back from some of their learnings, or if they had a bad period, they can still reset their score and start again. So that was something that was very much that came about from client requests. And the other one also to do with the score was the Edge Score Explainers, which is our most recent launch. And, we have one of our difficult challenges, I say, we face is with the Edge Score and being transparent or totally transparent around it. We pride ourselves on transparency. Everything we do is, there to be seen. We very much have a model, and everything to do is on transparency, being fair, and giving traders an equal playing field. But when it comes to the Edge Score, we can't give the formulas away. So we give the formulas away in today's world with the EAs and the sort of systems will just get gamed, and people are going to have scores of 100, even though they don't deserve to have scores of 100. So it's a very difficult position where we want to give as much as we can so traders have a fair opportunity to get high scores. But we know if we give a score away, we're going to be programmed, we're going to be gamed, and it's going to be a nightmare situation. And we are seeing a lot of that in the industry now with more sophistication amongst traders. A lot of firms have become under pressure with risk management tools and what's happening with the sort of trade become more sophisticated. So we were thinking, what can we do to give that to traders without actually giving the formulas away? And what we came up with was something called an edge score explainers. It basically takes the literal translations of the formulas for your three most formulas that are affecting so what's affect your score the most, the three most important factors, and that's dynamic. It'll keep changing to say which are the three that are affecting us. You can always see what you need to do to improve your score by the highest amount. And it shows you how much you can improve your score by if you take those actions and what your score can be. So the thought process is there. It's a way for traders to go, right, well, this is how I can improve my score. This is what I need to do. These are the three factors in the different components affecting my score the most. And it's been incredibly well received. It's just the first version that we've released from our side. We do plan to do more and more and more with regards to this. But it's something, again, we understand traders want more clarity on the score. I think a lot of respect, we can't give the actual formulas, but this is what we can do, and something that we have doing to keep building upon it too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it sounds like a great step forward because again, the edge score is a very important component, I think, of the program itself, right? It really kind of determines quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly that, and that's why we did it. It makes sense. It was just from our side, we're trying to find the right balance, and we feel we've found it with this first version, and it's only going to improve, and hopefully down the line we can get even more advanced with what we can share. But I can say it has been well received. Just going back to some of the other requests, and I think we get a lot of, and I think it's quite important, relevant for this conversation, has to do with the time of the program. We often get, well, why does it take so long to go from one stage to the other? Or why must I place X amount of trades? Because X, Y, and Z, you only have to spend 10 days here, or you don't spend any days here. And I think the important part to that is we have this trader-centric program that we've created, and we don't want to move away from that to become a speculation engine. As well as I know that if somebody says to you, you can have $200,000 when I've seen you trade for 10 days and without a track record, the likelihood of achieving success or profit is very low, because no one is going to give you such sums of money without seeing that you can actually trade. So it's important to realize that Axi Select is real. It's real money. It's our funds that we're giving traders, and we're not going to give you $200,000 or $500,000 based off 10 trades you placed in one day. And that's an important part, that we do get a lot of that, because that's the one part of the AxiTrader program that's considered a little bit slower. But then I point people to the model, and it's a genuine trading model where it's free to join. You get the chance to trade with $1 million of our fund. But ultimately, it's a trading program. It's not for speculating.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah, and I feel like that's a differentiating factor between Axi Select and other allocation programs, or let's say funded trader programs, whatever we want to call it. At least the ones that I see out there, today. Greg, I wanted to go back a little bit. So you mentioned that there's these series of videos of traders speaking about their experience with Axi Select, and I wanted to ask, in your opinion, what makes Axi Select a better choice for traders compared to other capital allocation programs or brokers that might be offering similar programs as as an addition or a standalone model with their retail offerings?
Yeah, so I think the best part about Axi Select is it's almost revolutionizing this industry in the sense that it's not just a prop firm, and it's not just a program from a broker. And let me explain that. If we split that up, we spent a lot of time on the prop firm side, but let's just focus on the broker side for a second. Well, a lot of people don't know or why or how we created Axi Select, the structure. It's all live accounts. It's the exact same broker account that traders at Axi get. They can even choose between a pro or the standard account. And ultimately, all it is it's a broker account where we put our fund in an allocation account that trades next to it. So if you're trading at another broker, you can ultimately, let's say you're trading $1,000 at another broker, you could trade your $1,000, and let me take a step back. What do you look for at a broker? You look for good execution, You look for good liquidity, you look for a trustworthy broker. And Axi is very high up on those lists. But when you look at that, you can trade $1,000 at your broker, and you can trade as you trade. And let's say you make $200-300 at the end of the month. You could do the same thing at Axi. You get the exact same broker live account. The only difference is on that $200-300, you'll get, depending on what stage you're at, extra money just transferred into your Axi Select account at the end of the month. So you're not doing anything different. You're basically trading a normal standard broker account. And the only difference is if you make money, you'll just get paid extra money at the end of the month, with the potential, if you're really good, to get up to $1 million of our funds to trade. And that's, going back to that story, one of the testimonial videos, somebody did that for $500 in their broker account, is now trading with $500,000 in our funds, did nothing but trade at a normal broker account. So if you're already trading at another broker, it makes a lot of sense. There's very little to no downside for Axi Select, because if you lose your money at your broker, it's the same thing as losing it at Axi. But if you make money at your broker, you will just get paid more. So there is no downside when you look at Axi Select from the broker side of it. And that's something we've just started to create awareness of. We were spending a lot of time in the prop firm space, and I think a lot of people saw us just as a prop firm without realizing the structure. It was created as a quasi for the brokers, as well as a better alternative, in our opinion, in the prop firm space. So for traders at brokers, there's very little downside. Of course, if you're not a trader at all and you're starting out and you want to look at different prop firms, then there's downside for any program you take, because you can lose your money. Whether it's a registration fee, whether it's you lose your money in your account, that is, of course, is a risk. In the prop firm space, we believe we've created a model that levels the playing field. It gives traders a realistic opportunity to make funds, to make money, to support long-term careers. It's not get rich fast scheme. It's not trying to lure traders in by saying, hey, here's your large sums of money in a small, short space of time. As I always say, I'll tell you how hard trading is. I'm a trader. I can tell you how difficult it is. I can tell you most people won't make it to the pro stage. A smaller percentage will. But you don't need to make it to the pro stage to have a benefit on Axi Select. And that's the way it's set up from the prop side, is every stage is a benefit. Obviously, the higher you go, the bigger benefit you get in terms of profit. But you don't have restrictions. And I think that's something that's the most overlooked in trading. It's not about what funds we give you and what percentage you can keep, which obviously is important. And we offer $1 million and 90% on the high end. But people often overlook the trading conditions. How likely are you to generate profits? And they often, a lot of these programs have a lot of these restrictions in place, which don't allow traders to be successful. And what I mean by that, and this is something we don't have any and won't have any of, we don't have any high watermark levels to affect traders who performed well. There's no restrictions on trading around news. There's no restriction on trading holding positions over weekend. There's no daily losses that you can incur. The only restriction is don't lose 10%, and you have to make 5% to progress to the next stage. So the only restriction is 2-to-1 in the trader's favor, which is the most favorable I've seen. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe they are, but the general industry standard would be level or more the other way. So when you take that into account, you get a live account, not a demo account. You get real trading conditions. You don't have any restrictions, so you can be flexible in what you do. You've actually got a real fair opportunity to generate profits. And with that comes the fact that you're not going to get large sums immediately. You need to prove yourself. You need to place X amount of trades. You need to achieve a certain amount of score. And the more you do that, the more comfortable we are providing more funds. So just to summarize that, from a prop firm space, we believe we've got a model that is aligned to clients, that is aligned to generating long-term careers, and is trading as opposed to speculating. And for traders or who are trading with other brokers, there's really no downside, in my opinion, because you're doing exactly the same thing. You just get the potential to earn more.
Mm-hmm. I think you make a lot of great points, and I like the fact that the risk management sort of side of things here is very much in tune with what I commonly know as best practices in terms of risk management, in terms of retail trading, the 2-to-1 ratio. which I think is great. It's very honest, for the market and for traders. So Greg, given everything that you've told me so far, and examples of, you could be trading with a retail brokerage elsewhere, and you could sort of be maybe what I would say is maybe missing out, right? Because if you're trading somewhere else, you could use this opportunity to see if you can excel or if you can progress in the Axi Select program. I guess my next question is it simple for traders to switch to Axi Select from other brokers? I mean, in my experience in the industry, sometimes you can transfer an account very, very quickly, or is it a matter of a trader being able to continue to trade at another broker and then also have an Axi Select account? Kind of how would that work?
Yeah, I mean, traders can continue to trade at their brokers. There's no, restrictions in that sense. But ultimately, an Axi Select account is just opening up a normal account at a broker. And that's the whole point of it. It's not some prop firm where you got to pass the evaluation or you have anything different to what it's sort of used to. A trader would ultimately need to go onto the Axi website, sign up for an Axi account. There'll be a box there to say, do they want Axi Select account? They will get the Axi Select account and need to place 20 trades. If you place 20 trades and after those 20 trades, you have an edge score of 50 or more, you then qualify for the program and off you go. So it's really as simple as opening up a broker account, placing 20 trades, and then you've started your journey. If you've got a score of 50, you join the seed stage, and straight away you get access to the trading room and access to the dashboard and into the leaderboard, and ultimately on your pathway, on your journey. So very simple. It's just a broker account. I think that's the beauty of it. It's not anything to do with a new account or anything to do with the signing up for a subscription. It's just a real life trading broker account of which we put our funds to trade parallel next to it.
Mm-hmm. Greg, so considering everything you've told me, our previous conversations, it's been over a year since the program launched. It's doing well, obviously, with the amount of engagement that it has and the amount of traders that are in the program today. I guess I wanted to ask, what does the future hold for Axi Select? In broad terms, I think in one of our previous discussions, we discussed, the products that are available for trading. I'm just curious, perhaps one of the things that you may expand or launch down the line is maybe additional products that traders can trade that will be eligible to be calculated in the edge score and things like that. Is that something that may be considered for the future, or perhaps there's other developments or something that you see in the future that we just don't know about yet?
Yeah, I mean, there's always stuff going on, trying to improve our program, trying to create a better model, better version, or create additional, tools. I got to be careful what I can and can't say. What I can say is one thing we are working very much on is our dashboard. We're looking to create a more interactive one, which provides a lot more details for the traders to be able to analyze their performance, their statistics. With that, a trading journal is something on the list to do as well along those lines. So again, looking for more tools that traders can analyze their performance, improve their performance. I can't give the exact details of what's coming there, but there's some really, really cool stuff that's being developed or is currently being scoped out. So that's something that we will be looking to improve. MT5 is something that's on the agenda. We've started the discussions. We only offer MT4 at the moment. We are looking to add MT5. That is in discussions. I can't tell you exactly when or how, but it is something that we are looking to do. In terms of the actual program, with regard to the score, we have made those changes with the reset escrow and the escrow explainers recently. We are making one change to the program. The requirements for pro stage is being slightly increased in terms of the capital requirements. And we have noticed that trading with a multiplier of 100 can be quite daunting. So we are looking to make that a little bit lower at the pro stage to try get better performance to assist the pro traders in that sense. So that is coming into effect beginning of February. Other than that, with regards to the future, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're so proud of the model we've created, to see the stories, to see these people who have been given that ability and are making money and are having the opportunity that wouldn't otherwise be. Is something that we're going to keep doing. We're going to keep making sure that we, do more of these testimonial videos. I think it's quite important for, the fact that people want to do it and people are so open to share their journeys and stories in Axi Select. It's just great. So we're super proud of what we've done and what we've created. We think we're in a very good spot in that sense in terms of where we're heading, and we want to keep doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, Greg, you being a trader in the past, you being the head of the Axi Select program and seeing all of the action, so to say, the trading happening in your ecosystem, I guess to wrap up the discussion, I wanted to ask what kind of advice would you give to ambitious traders who are out there, again, looking at the market, looking at the price fluctuations, right? And thinking about, have ambitions to make a profit. What would your advice to them be, given that we're in 2025? You have Axi Select, you can trade on a retail account, you can do many different things in the market today.
Yeah. I mean, the what I always go for is patience. I think we live in such a crazy world right now where everybody expects to just click a few fingers and everything just to fall into place so quickly. And, you see a lot of that on the trading. I think that's where Axi Select addresses that. It provides liquidity, provides one of the biggest issues that traders have is having the ability to access capital. But that doesn't mean hit full leverage, full size trades straight away to try and get up as quickly as possible. The best traders or the pro traders that we've seen on our program, most of them have taken their time. They're not rushing. They're not trying to achieve, a month's worth of work in one day and one night. And they say trading's majority of it is actually waiting, stalking for entries, looking as opposed to always being active, always placing trades. Most of it is preparing. The actual executing is very little, smaller part of trading. So I think you want to be successful in trading in general, not even just on the prop side. It's so important to be patient, to trust your process, follow your process, have a system in place. But ultimately, not to get sucked in by this, everybody's making all this money in such a short space of time. I've got to always be active. I've got to always trade. I've got to always be, looking to make money. I think it's important to be patient in trading. And that comes the same with the Select program. If you want to make it to the stage, it's not going to be place a few trades in a small period of time and you've got access to such funds. It's take advantage of the platform. It's free to join. Take advantage of being able to join the community, join the webinar, be part of the trading room, have a look at the dashboard, improve your trading performance, get that information from the edge score, which will help you as well to improve your trading. And ultimately, it will set you up. And that's the purpose of Axi Select, right? We can't trade for you. We're not going to say you're going to make money, you're not going to make money. What we can do is provide a platform, provide an opportunity for traders to take advantage and to improve their trading and to access larger sums of capital. And that's where the patience is required.
Mm-hmm. They say patience is a virtue, right, Greg?
Absolutely, especially in trading.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, I wanted to wrap up our discussion. It's great to see you in early 2025. I'm glad that the Axi Select program has been expanding and that you have so many traders part of the ecosystem. And now, again, sharing ideas, sharing their experiences, and kind of having a social community around it as well. So we'd like to wish you future success with the program. And I'm sure that as the year quickly moves along, you and I will probably chat once again sometime later this year. And we wish you all the best in 2025.
Thank you, Nikolay. Always a pleasure to speak to you. And
likewise.
I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.